Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Sunday, July 16th, 2023. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread. First card that we are starting our day off with today is Knight of Cups in its reversal. Now, you may recall, if you were paying attention yesterday, that the feminine energy was in a moment of feeling some degree of emotional overwhelm. What we like to see with the feminine energy yesterday is there was this moment or opportunity the feminine was taking a lot of that over emotionality and channeling it into their abundance mindset, putting that overabundance of emotionality into good use yesterday. Masculine energy, it seems to be reflecting some of that feminine energy that we saw and identified yesterday. However, it is also leading to some moment right now of feeling a bit of emotional overwhelm for the masculine energy. This is either recalling right now for the masculine energy some difficulty as it relates to being able to put forward the emotionality that they may potentially be feeling right now. This could be feeling right now for the masculine energy a difficulty and inability to express one's own emotions right now, or a questioning of one's emotions that you are trying to put forward at this point. While for feminine energy right now, this is effectively working with a masculine energy that you may be recognizing is in this moment, having to address some difficulties in terms of understanding the emotionality of the masculine at this time. Or for some of the feminine energy right now, this is dealing with circumstances and situations where you may not necessarily be seeing or receiving that emotional offer that you would ideally be desiring at this point that needs to be addressed. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now, the second card that we have coming through in our 5-card spread for today is, we've got here the 2 of Pentacles coming through right now in combination with our Knight of Cups. What is causing some of this blockage for the masculine energy right now as it relates to your emotional center, or what you're being able to communicate or express right now as it relates to emotionality? We did notice that for both masculine and feminine energy yesterday, there was a degree or capacity that we were recognizing that there were decisions and a lot of work being put in the practical space. A lot of this card was also coming through yesterday, you will recall. There are decisions, there is a moment of overwhelm, there is a way of trying to find a place or a point of balance as you come forward from this point. For masculine energy, there's something about being able to isolate or secure this state of balance at this time that is feeling like a bit of a challenge. What we're really identifying here for the masculine energy is feeling this moment of trying to find balance, trying to maintain this moment and not go into a state of overwhelm, is creating some degree of emotional exhaustion that we are seeing here at this time. But masculine effort and energy is kind of putting a lot of this practical energy into finding that point of balance for themselves at this moment, as instead of feeling that point of overwhelm. While for feminine energy right now, this could also be speaking right now of trying to find that point of balance, weighing one's own options right now, potentially as it relates to a masculine energy that you are seeing this point of emotional exhaustion in. This is either going to feel like one of 2 different things for the feminine energy right now. For part of the feminine energy right now, this is working in union with a masculine energy that is showing some degree of capacity of that emotional exhaustion, but working to find a better sense of balance and practicality as you proceed forward from this point. For the other half of the feminine collective right now, this could be identifying situations or circumstances where you are not seeing the emotionality that you would ideally desire. You are not receiving those emotional offers. You are not receiving that emotional communication. I will point out one of the things that we notated yesterday was the fact that while there was a lot of internal work happening, there wasn't a lot of active communication. If you want to catch that, you can find it on my YouTube yesterday. So what we're seeing here today is feminine energy is trying to determine what to do potentially in the face of not receiving that emotionality, not experiencing that emotional communication that they ultimately need and require at this time. This is requiring the feminine to weigh their options as they proceed forward from this point. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Center card for our 5-card spread for today is the 5 of Cups. This is that moment right now that could be feeling like there is some grief at play right now. For masculine energy, there is this moment right now that you, again, are feeling some degree or moment that you're not necessarily feeling like your own emotions have a place to be seen or recognized. Masculine energy is feeling a bit of an emotional overwhelm as it relates to circumstances and situations that they're still carrying a lot of grief around at this time. This is what is leading the masculine energy to feel some of this emotional overwhelm energy that is requiring either an overabundance of communication at this time or a withdrawing of communication. Masculine energy is weighing their options right now in the face of some circumstances and situations that they are feeling a lot of or certain capacity of grief around at this moment. And for the masculine energy, this is what's creating some of that emotional balance, like blockage that we are experiencing. Masculine energy is weighing their options in the face of some of that anxiety or grief or fear or doubt at this time. While for feminine energy right now, this is going to feel a little bit different depending on where you fall on this collective. For half of the feminine energy right now, this could be working with a masculine energy that is expressing some of this emotionality at this moment. There is this moment of recognizing that your masculine energy is in a place that is hard for them to articulate their own feelings, their own matters of uncertainty, potentially around situations or circumstances that they're carrying a lot of grief or a certain level of grief on right now. You are working with that masculine energy to try to find a point of balance to help carry some of that burden that they are effectively experiencing at this time. Well, for the other half of the feminine collective right now, this could be feeling, again, a withdrawing or not feeling or receiving the emotional communication that you would ideally desire right now as it relates to circumstances and situations that you are currently experiencing. This lack of emotionality is causing a degree of grief for you at this time because it is creating a moment of uncertainty about where the emotionality of this masculine energy is. It is requiring you to balance or weigh your options at this time. But there is some feelings of frustration, doubt, and fear rising to the surface at the moment as you do so. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. The next card we are seeing in our 5-card spread for today is the 9 of Wands in its reversal. This is that moment, though, that we do appreciate seeing as it relates to our 5 of Cups energy, because what we're really identifying at this time is while you may be experiencing some circumstances and situations where you are potentially carrying some feeling of grief, some feeling of doubt, some feeling of fear, we don't necessarily see the fact that you're allowing yourself to stay locked into that feeling. Rather, you are facing a lot of that grief and fear today in order to find that path forward for yourself at this moment, not wanting to operate in a state of injury. Again, we identified this yesterday in our daily collective read. There is a large determination. There's a very high conviction right now in terms of being able to find that path going forward without carrying this grief and this doubt and this loss and this fear. For feminine energy, this is what we were identifying was bringing you into your Empress energy yesterday, allowing yourself to experience some of the emotionality around those circumstances that did not necessarily work out in your favor or that you've been holding a lot of grief on. This is some of that coming into play right now and feeling a bit overwhelming. But what we're really identifying here that is so important is the fact that for both masculine and feminine energy, there is this moment right now of working through some of these feelings, all to the desire and all to the hopeful expectation of being able to navigate forward away from any circumstances or situations that you have been holding your guard up on to a certain degree. Hence that 4 of Pentacles in its reversal that we received today for our card of the day. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now is we have here our 3 of Pentacles in its reversal. There is that moment of deconstruction that we see coming into play today, that there is something that needs to be dismantled. What is being dismantled here? Do you want to see what's being dismantled? The blockages, the walls, the doubts, the fears, the things that have been holding you back to a certain degree. This is a getting back to basics moment as it relates to being able to move forward from this time without carrying these wounds, without carrying these injuries, without having your guard up all the time. But the difficulty on what we are seeing here is that it's requiring for both masculine and feminine to look at situations and circumstances that they hold a lot of grief around in order to find a way to clear the blockages, which is feeling like a lot of deconstruction today. For masculine energy, there is a feeling that is a bit of emotional overwhelm. This could be feeling for the masculine energy almost to a certain degree like you need to kind of go back to square one on some things right now. And that is something that is very difficult as you weigh your options. While for feminine energy right now, this is a moment that some of this is being inspired or compelled around some of the masculine energy, possibly around this feeling or this anxiety that you yourself are feeling, around the emotionality that you are receiving from your masculine at this time. For the masculine and feminine energy that is in union, there is something here around the masculine energy being in this state of emotional overwhelm that is requiring this moment of deconstruction in order to build these new, strong, stable foundations as you go forward from this time. While for the feminine energy that is not in union, this could be incited right now. This could be feeling inspired by a masculine energy that is not coming forward in the way or degree that you would ideally desire as it relates to their emotional offers, as it relates to their emotional communication. This is requiring you to kind of recognize your own options at this time while also bearing some of the grief around those circumstances and situations, but all to the effort of building new stable foundations without holding these walls, without holding these moments of injury as you proceed forward from this time. Now let's get some clarification right now on the cards that we are seeing here. Clarification between our Knight of Cups in its reversal, in combination with our Two of Pentacles. For masculine energy right now, this is a feeling, some moment of emotional overwhelm, having to potentially pull your own energy back as you deal with emotional overwhelm, particularly around circumstances or situations that are requiring a lot of energy to keep into balance at this moment. While for feminine energy right now, this is a moment that you yourself are potentially weighing your options, either working in union right now with masculine energy that is having some difficulty emotionally expressing how they're feeling, but working to get into better balance as you proceed forward from this point. Or for feminine energy, this is a moment where you are not experiencing or receiving the emotional offer, the emotional opportunity that you would ideally desire from a masculine at this time. And this is requiring you to weigh your options as you proceed forward from this point. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Emperor energy. For both masculine and feminine, this is going to feel a little bit different. For masculine energy, what we're really seeing right now is this is a moment that is really requiring you to come into your sense of self-mastery, that this is requiring a high degree of self-control at this moment. You are working right now internally on your own self-control. Why? Because you're going through a moment that is feeling like a bit of an emotional overwhelm as you try to balance your decisions in terms of how you're going to proceed forward from this point. For masculine energy right now, this is going to feel like a lot of internal work that needs to be maintained at this moment because there is some situation or circumstance that you are feeling an emotional blockage around. You're not able to emotionally be able to express or communicate in the way that you would ideally desire at this time. You are working very hard right now to consider, to find that point of balance, to manage and maintain what you are feeling because you are working so hard to maintain this point of self-mastery in the face of the emotional blockage. This has a lot to do with what you are trying to balance at this moment. While for feminine energy right now, this is working right now with your own sense of balance, having to maintain and navigate some of this space right now. For feminine energy, this is going to hit a couple different ways depending on where you align on this collective. For some of the feminine energy right now, this is that moment that you are identifying, that you are working either with a single manifestation of masculine, that you are recognizing and is experiencing this state of emotional overwhelm, this state of emotional blockage. And again, you are working right now with that masculine energy to help them maintain some of their own self-empowerment, trying to effectively move them into this space of helping them come back into their sense of self-confidence by working and helping them balance any situations or circumstances that are causing some of this emotional overwhelm at this time. Well, for the other half of the feminine collective right now. This is a moment that you are potentially weighing your own options as it relates to masculine energy at this point, because this could either, again, be a masculine energy that you are identifying is not communicating in the way that you would ideally desire right now, isn't coming forward with the emotional communication that you would desire at this time. And this is you looking at that energy and trying to assess if this is in fact an energy that is in a place that there is emotionality, that there is feelings, and that this is just someone who is maintaining a degree or level of self-control at this time, which is why they're not coming forward with these moments or opportunities. Or for some of the feminine collective right now, this could be effectively weighing your own options as it relates to masculine energy at this moment, potentially between a masculine energy that's not coming forward with the emotional offers that you would ideally desire at this point, versus trying to manifest or in manifestation mode with a masculine energy that is showing this degree or ability of self-control, of self-mastery, of balance. And we find that you are in this moment of weighing your options in terms of deciding which direction to move into at this time. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 2 of Pentacles in combination with our 5 of Cups energy. For masculine and feminine energy, this is a moment of really trying to come into balance, weighing your options at this time. But it is some heavy energy that we're seeing here, because we see here that there are some feelings of loss, there are some feelings of doubt, there are some feelings of fear rising to the surface at this point, that some of these decisions that you're making right now, they're not necessarily allowing you in the space or place that you would ideally desire at this moment. They are being made in the face of feeling some of this energy. A little caution right now not to necessarily move from a space of need or lack-based mentality, because this could be giving a lot of indications that you might be inclined to do so today. Making sure that you move with that higher vibrational intentionality is going to be very key right now, potentially, particularly for the masculine energy that we're seeing right now is in their Knight of Cups in their reversal. Clarification right now coming through between our 2 of Pentacles in combination with our 5 of Cups. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming right now with our 10 of Swords in its reversal. Again, there is this moment of rebirth coming through on this. There is this feeling of coming back from something that feels like it was somewhat devastating. This is some of that closure of the cycle that we've been seeing over the last few days. And what do we really witness here? Well, again, this is potentially talking about the fact that while you are in this moment of rebirth, that there is something here about some of the grief of the past rising up today in order to have to be faced as you experience some of this movement away and allowing some of these cycles to close. Cycles from the past have reached that point of completion. There is this moment or process of rebirth that you're currently experiencing right now, but it is not an easy process, right? This rejuvenation, this bringing something back, this coming back from something here is a space that has created a lot of grief, because these were closure points that were not easily accepted or not easily desired, right? But that is that moment that you're still potentially carrying some of the grief from these circumstances and situations from the past, even as you move forward on this cycle, while also identifying and coming into balance around how you are going to navigate as you proceed forward from this point. For masculine energy, this is a moment that is requiring a lot of self-mastery in the face of some circumstances and situations that you may be feeling a lot of over-emotionality on right now. While for feminine, this is potentially looking and working right now with a masculine energy that is either in that emotional overwhelm to find that center balance, or having to make a determination as you proceed forward from this point around the type of energy that you're really trying to manifest towards yourself at this time. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 5 of Cups energy in combination with our 9 of Wands in its reversal. This moment that is feeling like there is some feeling of grief, there is some feeling of doubt, there are some feelings of anxiety coming to play. Again, for feminine and masculine energy, there is this moment or opportunity though of trying to find that path forward so that you won't have to carry this grief, so that you won't have to carry this anxiety. Being able to move with this easement away from the circumstances and situations that have been causing you any degree of doubt or sadness or fear at this moment. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now. We love seeing this energy here. We've got our Queen of Pentacles coming through right now. This will feel a bit different for feminine or masculine energy right now, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. For feminine energy, we saw a lot of this movement yesterday. There was a lot of concentration in putting practical work in your own life at this time to help make you feel more stable, particularly around situations or circumstances that feel less comfortable for you at this moment. Feminine energy is putting a lot of concentration in what they can physically affect and adjust right now. A lot of this is based on feminine coming into a state of security. And what we're really identifying right now at this point is there is this moment right now for the feminine that focusing this ability right now to focus on what they are trying to create, on what they are trying to build for themselves at this moment, is helping the feminine energy heal, coming out of those spaces and places that they are carrying this grief, that they are carrying this anxiety, that they are carrying this fear. This is allowing the feminine to move forward from these circumstances and situations without feeling like they have to have their guard up, without feeling like they have to have these walls up. Feminine energy is putting a lot of tangible concentration in the situations and scenarios that help them feel stable at this time as they proceed forward from this point. While for masculine energy right now, this is again a moment that you yourself are moving into right now. You are feeling a lot of anxiety and doubt and fear potentially rising through today, but you are trying to find this way to work your path through it. You're trying to find those opportunities to help you feel less of this anxiety and grief and doubt and fear, with a lot of focus around a feminine energy that creates this point of stability for you at this moment. For the masculine and feminine energy right now that is in union, this will be masculine really putting a lot of care and concentration right now, or putting a lot of leverage on a feminine energy that they feel helps build this stabilizing point around them, even as they're in this moment of feeling some of this expression. While for the other part of the masculine collective right now, this is potentially wondering or finding or trying to find a point right now to potentially move closer to a feminine energy that creates this sense of stability, that maintains this sense of stability at this point. But what we're really identifying at this time for the masculine energy is there is this feeling like the grief that they are carrying themselves, they are recognizing is potentially the blockage point that is preventing them from being able to move towards this energy, which is why the masculine energy is putting so much care and concentration right now out of coming out of this negative or grief-based mindset, so that they can move towards the feminine energy from a point that feels like it is not carrying as much of that heaviness in the process. Hence the Knight of Cups not coming forward with their emotionality right now, because to some extent we're seeing here that some of this masculine energy doesn't know what to say, and doesn't know how to communicate in the face of some of this heaviness, some of this grief, some of this sadness, some of this regret that they are effectively feeling around the circumstances and situations at present. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Nine of Wands in its reversal in combination with our Three of Pentacles in its reversal. Again, a moment right now that's really creating a point of assessment for masculine and feminine energy, looking at situations or circumstances that created this point of instability, feeling some points of instability, feeling like there is this need right now to be able to navigate spaces or places that feel like there is a new foundation being built, but it's requiring some of this deconstruction in the process. For both masculine and feminine energy right now, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. This is that moment that can feel difficult, because we're seeing here that there are some hurdles, thank you for the gift, that are effectively needing to be worked through right now in order to find that path to build that new foundation right now. But it's requiring someone to let their guard down in order for that to occur. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with the Tower. So again, this is some of that grief that we're seeing. This is some of that anxiety. This is where some of that doubt and that fear is coming into play for masculine and feminine energy right now. Why is there this moment right now of addressing and building this new foundation here? All to avoid circumstances and situations leading to a point that could not necessarily be the best for both energies. This is a moment of optics and orientation right now in terms of what you are building and what you are creating, wanting to put your guard down to a certain extent, recognizing that there are some situations and circumstances that need to be addressed. Why? Because there's a recognition that situations and circumstances that are not built with strong foundations lead to tower moments. Something stable requires a stable foundation in order to allow it not to become a tower situation. Both masculine and feminine energy are recognizing this right now. Masculine and feminine energy right now are really looking forward right now at the future in terms of trying to assess how to build in such a way that this will not occur. It is difficult because there is a lot of grief related to these circumstances and situations. There's a moment of having to let one's guard down to be able to do this work. There's a lot of grief that is effectively coming to the surface right now. Working through some of these processes, working through some of these moments right now as you proceed forward. For masculine energy, this is a moment that feels a bit emotionally overwhelming because what we're really seeing right now is the fact that while you're needing to require a sense of self-mastery, there is some anxiety as it relates to the future, as it relates to trying to avoid anything that could feel like it's coming into a space of catastrophe. There could be a lot of grief or anxiety because there could be a lot of catastrophe thinking today as you try to preempt or pre-avoid anything that you are worried is leading potentially to these types of situations right now. But what we appreciate around this energy is this is all being done for the effort of the prevention of these situations, of these circumstances, requiring this moment of orientation in terms of building that foundation from the ground up, finding that new start, finding a way to navigate around situations or circumstances that either, again, you are feeling anxiety could lead to a point of crisis, or that you are actively feeling in some way, shape, or form are already in a point of crisis that is requiring this moment of rebuilding. For both masculine and feminine energy right now, there's a lot of work that you're trying to do to this extent. You are pushing yourself past your own limits and even potentially past your own anxieties, doubts, and fears and boundaries right now, all for the effort of doing this work right now to avoid that type of situation or scenario. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Big cards here between our Emperor energy in combination with our 10 of Swords in its reversal. This is what we're seeing here. We're seeing for masculine energy, particularly right now, this is that feeling of mastery of the self, self-control coming into play today, potentially around circumstances and situations. You're actively going through a moment of rebirth. You are allowing some of this rebirth energy to come into effect right now, and it is requiring a level of degree of self-mastery, even as you proceed to do so at this time. It is feeling like very heavy energy because something about this rebirth is not necessarily moving in a situation or scenario that you would have ideally desired. This is something that you kind of find yourself doing at this time. There's a lot of heavy energy here as you feel the emotional overwhelm of proceeding forward from this point. While for the feminine energy right now, what we're really identifying is this is a moment that you yourself are also feeling like you are going through some sort of rebirth process. It is feeling like there is something here about coming out of through something that was very difficult and very painful for you. But we see here that for some of the mass feminine collective right now, you are getting support as you go through this right now with a masculine energy that is manifesting this level or degree of self-control and self-empowerment and self-mastery to help guide you through this process for yourself at this moment. While for the other part of the feminine collective right now, this is a moment that you yourself are potentially experiencing some of this rebirth energy while you try to manifest or working to manifest this type of energy towards you at this time. Someone that can feel strong, someone that can feel secure, someone that will not create a 10 of Swords energy in the first place. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now. Look at this energy today. This is a lot, because what we're really identifying right now is for feminine and masculine energy. This is like a lot of self-empowerment coming through. This is a lot of like self-empowerment, self-control, self-mastery coming through. For the masculine energy right now, something about this rebirth process is coming through right now that's requiring this self-mastery in the face of feeling some of this over-emotionality at this time. For feminine energy, this is a moment that is requiring some very healthy boundaries to be laid. Feminine energy is moving from a space of laying those healthy boundaries. And I say healthy boundaries because we are recognizing right now that these boundaries are not being laid from a place of fear. They're not being laid from a place of anxiety. They're not being laid from a place of protection. These are choices. These are very clear choices that the feminine energy is making right now to allow themselves the room and the space to go through this rebirth process. For this will hit a little bit different depending on whether you are in union right now. For the feminine and masculine energy that are in union right now, this is a dual combined effort. This is coming into a moment of self-empowerment and really laying down those boundaries. For masculine energy, there's a lot of protection energy here. There's a lot of self-empowerment that's going through, even through something that could feel like a bit of an emotional hurdle. For feminine energy, this is being done through these healthy boundaries as you proceed forward from this point, all to allow this new energy, this new rebirth process to come into a point of completion. While for the energy that is not in union right now, there is something here that's speaking very strongly as it relates to this cycle of rebirth that we're seeing right now around the masculine and feminine energy. Masculine energy is coming into a state right now of feeling a degree or need to be in a point of self-empowerment, even as they're going through situations or circumstances that are very difficult. This is a difficult rebirth process, but also potentially being incited into this energy right now by a feminine that is clearly putting up these boundaries, that is clearly showing this degree of putting up these boundaries, that is requiring the masculine energy to come into this point of self-mastery, even though they may be feeling some degree of emotional overwhelm around it. While for feminine energy right now, the lack of emotionality, that lack of emotional offer coming through is exactly why the feminine energy is putting up the boundary. The feminine energy we've seen here, these boundaries are not allowing energy in that isn't consistent, that isn't showing that degree and ability of coming through in a consistent way with their emotions and coming through in a way that feels healthy. The feminine energy, if they're not receiving these emotional offers at this time, is simply saying that they don't necessarily want it. That they do not want it. They're ready to go through their own rebirth process here. This is the clearing up of those cycles. And while this is a painful decision for the feminine energy to make right now, we are also seeing that the feminine energy is holding in their power. They're holding in their own level of self-determination, knowing what is best for them at this time, keeping these boundaries up, even in the face while they work to manifest masculine energy that would not necessarily remove emotionality in the process in order to move into a state of power. This is what we're really seeing the feminine energy is trying to manifest into their own place right now. They don't want to play any of these emotional games right now with the masculine energy. So the feminine energy is simply putting these boundaries up right now to avoid anything that feels like an emotional game at this time. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 10 of Swords in its reversal in combination with our Queen of Pentacles. Look at this firm energy that we are seeing around the feminine at this time. Feminine energy is not playing games. Guys, feminine energy is not playing any games right now. They're keeping a lot of their focus on stability, We're seeing it right here. And that need for stability, that need for a rebirth process is requiring them to lay down some very heavy, healthy boundaries, but all for the sake of protecting their own stability at this moment. Bearing in mind that stability doesn't necessarily need to mean specifically around a financial basis, but wherever feminine puts that feeling of stability for themselves at this time, be it in relationships, be it in their home, be it in whatever capacity that they find it, be it in their work, feminine energy is putting all of their focus on this right now. Again, either in union with masculine energy to allow some of this rebirth to occur, and also creating the space of healthy boundaries, potentially with masculine energy that is similarly doing same. Look at the power in these cards right now, my friends. While for the other part of the feminine collective right now, this is blocking out anything that feels like it is not building this sense of stability for the feminine at this time, particularly in the realms of the emotional offers, situations and circumstances. If feminine is not getting the emotional offer from a masculine energy right now, they're just effectively moving away from it. They're not seeing it. We're seeing the blockage just coming through very quickly here. May I please have one card to clarify? While for masculine energy, again, this is working in combination with the feminine energy that you feel is creating this sense of stability for you at this moment as you're going through your own rebirth cycle with this energy. Or masculine energy, you are trying to potentially, we could see here, you are potentially trying to come back into some situation or circumstance right now towards a feminine energy that you feel creates this sense of stability for you at this time. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming right now with the Eight of Pentacles in its reversal. This is overcoming the hurdle and the challenge as it relates to work right now. You will remember this card was in its upright yesterday. We still see here that feminine energy and masculine energy is still very focused on their work at this time. For feminine energy right now, one of the reasons that you are taking these steps for yourself at this moment is because there is a lot of concentration in terms of building stability for yourself at this moment and potentially removing anything you feel gets in the way of you being able to do what you are trying to do in the most effective way to do it right now. This is feeling like a bit of a rebirth process. It's requiring for the feminine energy potentially new foundations to be built and created at this time. Feminine energy is investing all of their care and energy around the situations and circumstances that are not working. But again, taking new approaches, allowing this to be a bit of that rebirth energy coming through with a lot of these secure, stable boundaries that they're setting to all for the effect of overcoming obstacles and hurdles as it relates to their own work at this time. While for masculine energy right now, this is similar, that you are also putting a lot of care and attention in terms of what is not necessarily working right now. This is working right now with, again, in union either with the feminine energy to overcome any hurdles or challenges, potentially as it relates to work or the ability to work or how to work or finding easier ways to work, potentially between both energies, some of that rebuilding of the foundation that we're seeing here at this time. While for the other half of the masculine collective, for the energy that is not in union right now, for masculine energy right now, there is a feeling of frustration potentially around trying to come into union with the feminine energy that you recognize has this ability of maintaining a point of stability for themselves at this time. And this could be feeling like a point of frustration, because there's something here that we are seeing that you might be trying to come towards this energy, but it is feeling like you would ideally desire a new beginning, a new start with this energy, but you also don't understand how. You also don't understand how on a practical level. You are blocked because you don't understand how you can practically come towards this energy right now. This is where we're seeing that emotional overwhelm potentially, and also in combination with trying to weigh your own options at this time. While for feminine energy that is not in union, this is again just putting all of your care and attention right now into your work, in what's not working, in manifesting a masculine energy that you feel is in their emperor, that has that ability and degree of standing in a place of strength, empowerment, protection, and shutting down or moving away from any energy that you feel is not offering you the emotional support, the emotional stability that you would ideally desire, because you're recognizing that that simply doesn't work. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Queen of Pentacles in combination with the Tower energy. Heavy energy here for feminine. Why is feminine energy moving with such practicality, moving with such determination right now? Because feminine energy is either facing or working to avoid a Tower moment. That there is a feeling of crisis that feminine energy is working through right now, be it internal or external. But what we appreciate about this right now is feminine energy isn't falling into these Tower moments. Feminine energy is being very practical right now. Feminine energy is keeping a lot of stability in the face of situations or circumstances that they are addressing either from the past or immediately in the present that they see and recognize require some need of addressing. There is a Tower moment here, that there's something here that is creating some point of crisis for the feminine. But what we love about this is a feminine energy that is staying very stable, that is working on their stability in the face of that Tower moment. For masculine and feminine energy, this will feel a bit different right now. For masculine energy right now, this is potentially working through some feelings of crisis right now, potentially with a feminine energy that you recognize has this ability, has this capacity to maintain their own composure, even in the face of circumstances and situations that could be feeling somewhat crisis oriented. While for the masculine and for the feminine energy, this is effectively putting practical issues to the forefront right now to avoid or to work through any feelings of crisis that you're experiencing at this time. While for feminine energy and masculine energy that is not in union right now, this is a moment that will be feeling very different, because what we're really identifying at this time right now is for masculine energy, this is effectively feeling some point of crisis, potentially around a feminine energy that you recognize, and I feel that that is in this point of stability right now. Why are you feeling this like this potentially? Because there might be something about not being able to come into focus towards this energy at this time. There's some inability to come towards this energy because there's something here that you're identifying isn't effectively going to work, or anything that you're doing to try to access or move towards this energy right now isn't in a space where they would be able to accept you. They wouldn't come forward in this way because you didn't bring forward your emotional offer, because you didn't bring them that emotionality. That this is a feminine energy that's effectively potentially has cut you off to some extent because they didn't necessarily get that emotional offer from you. They didn't get that stable emotionality. And this is that moment that is requiring a lot of self-control, because a lot of your attention is focused towards this energy right now, but you may be feeling like it is kind of already too late, or you're unable to move towards this energy, and it's creating that sense of crisis around you at this time. While for the other part of the masculine collective, this is undergoing or experiencing or working through a crisis right now with a feminine energy that is stable, that is supportive, that is helping you through it. While for the feminine energy, this is, again, just a lot of focus on the self, even whether you're in union right now or not, towards circumstances and situations, putting this practical energy into play right now to either address circumstances from the past that have created crisis or to avoid crises going forward. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Six of Cups in its reversal. This is that moment that we are seeing, because where is this crisis energy coming from? Like I just said, unhealed karmic connections. For feminine energy right now, why is feminine energy moving with these healthy boundaries? Why is feminine energy moving with these healthy boundaries, allowing this restart energy to come through, allowing these cycles to come to a point of conclusion? Because feminine energy is recognizing the difference right now between a healthy, healed karmic energy that gives back, that is supportive, that builds that level of support around them at this time, versus the unhealthy karmic connections, the ones that are not reciprocal, the ones that just pull on their energy and do not return or invest back in kind, that just take and do not give back. Feminine energy is recognizing that this is where the crisis comes into their life, when they are involved in circumstances or situations with this unhealed karmic energy. And that's hence why feminine is putting so much care and concentration and energy right now in building their own stability, either working to amend the karmic connections that they feel have the possibility and potential to heal at this time, versus the ones that they feel do nothing but bring crisis into their life. This is feminine having that orientation right now in optics, which is why they're moving right now in a space of setting these healthy boundaries. While for masculine energy right now, this is also a moment that you are effectively working right now through some points of crisis. Either again, if you are in union right now with feminine energy, this is working to build again, to navigate points of crisis that you're currently experiencing around unhealed, unhealthy karmic connections that are potentially around this and that you are both experiencing right now. Any type of karmic energy right now that may have created some sense of crisis right now is being addressed and being managed and really being recognized with that question of saying, is this something that can be healed? Are these energies and these connections something that can be worked through? Or are they just going to continue to create a point of crisis as you proceed forward at this time? For the energy that's in union with feminine, you're getting a lot of support at this moment and getting some of that stability even as you navigate it at this time. While for the masculine energy that is not in union right now, this is what I'm saying as this being a point of deep, deep crisis. Because what we're seeing right now is, as I said, that there is an energy right now that you may be potentially trying to move towards right now. You are recognizing a feminine energy that maintains a point of stability, that they are in this place where they're coming forward at this point of stability, but you can't come towards them. You can't come towards them to a certain extent. Maybe this energy is blocked or moving away from you right now, and this is what's creating this feeling of crisis at this time, this inability to come towards this energy, because this energy may have effectively recognized or decided that this is not a connection that can be healed or worked through right now. This is feeling that blockage right now that is creating this state of crisis. While for the feminine energy right now that is not in union, this is, again, you effectively navigating some circumstances or situations. But what we like about this with the feminine energy that's not in union at this time is this is that moment that you are putting that care and concentration on yourself at this moment. You are putting your care and concentration and building stability for yourself, maintaining stability, even through either situations from the past that have caused too much crisis or present circumstances that have been causing crisis, but with an identification point, again, on the unhealed karmic energy, but setting healthy boundaries around it to avoid any further crisis. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Queen of Swords in combination with our Eight of Pentacles in its reversal. For feminine energy, as we identified, where is feminine energy setting these healthy boundaries right now? Feminine energy is setting healthy boundaries specifically around any situations or circumstances that they are either identifying or feel are not going to work or haven't worked or are preventing things from working in the way that they would ideally desire at this point. For masculine energy right now that's in union, this is getting a lot of this strategy and support right now from a feminine that you recognize is also putting this care and attention into places and spaces that are not working so that you guys can move forward in a better way at this time. While for the masculine energy that is not in union right now, this is creating a feeling of deep frustration because it could be indicating a situation where, again, you can't come towards a feminine energy because she's put up a wall, because she's effectively decided there's something around this right now that is not working in the capacity that they would ideally desire, potentially because they didn't get the emotional offer that they needed in time that is requiring now a level and degree of self-control for you at this moment. While for the other part of the masculine, for the feminine collective right now, this is you effectively just holding those boundaries. Holding those boundaries in situations and circumstances, concentrating on your own stability at this point, working again to potentially manifest, either working in union right now with a masculine energy that you feel is creating this point of empowerment for you to help address things that aren't working right now, or Similarly, working right now, again, to manifest this type of energy for yourself at this moment around and moving with a point and degree of recognizing that you do not want situations or circumstances where the emotionality is not consistent, or that someone would withdraw their emotionality or utilize it in a negative way instead of being supportive at this time. This is identifying and articulating some of those places and spaces that you feel that is occurring that prevent you from being able to feel like something can work to the degree that you would ideally desire. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now. She's back on the table. She was here yesterday. She's back today. We love to see her. We've got our Empress energy out again. Beautifully, beautiful here, because what we're really seeing, this is what we like about this, guys. Look at all of this incredible feminine energy that's on the table right now. We've got our Queen of Pentacles, we've got our Queen of Swords, and we've got our Empress energy. And we've got the combination of the Empress and the Emperor on the table. So what we're really seeing here is there's something very important that is happening right now with the feminine energy and coming in right now with these healthy boundaries, a point of stability mixed with healthy boundaries. Why is feminine energy coming into a point of healthy boundaries? Because feminine energy is opening up their heart space. This is an act of the feminine energy protecting their heart space. Did you hear what I said? This is what I've been trying to say. Why? Because the feminine energy has recognized the spaces or places that when they allow energy in that is unhealed, that isn't able to be consistent with their emotional offers, that creates, what does it create for the feminine? Tower moments. So the feminine energy is opening their heart space, but feminine energy is recognizing that the only way to be in an expression where their heart space is open is if they hold healthy boundaries to protect the heart space. And in order to do that, feminine energy needs to remove anything that they feel is already causing that harm, that's already causing that injury. That is where we see the feminine energy trying to rebuild this foundation for themselves by saying these boundaries on what hasn't worked in the past or what isn't working now in order to open up their heart space and be in this space of prolificness, in creativity, of being able to be in a space of truly being in their most authentic emotional expression, not chasing, but attracting. This is not a feminine energy chasing after anyone right now. This is a feminine energy that is holding very heavy boundaries in terms of who they are letting in, all to the effort of manifesting, again, Emperor energy at this moment. For masculine energy right now that is working in union with feminine energy, this is effectively working to a moment right now of, again, assessing what isn't working, adjusting what isn't working, building new foundations, all to avoid tower moments, potentially even moving away from any unhealthy or unhealed karmic energies that you both are effectively dealing with right now, all to the effort of recognizing and getting the support from the feminine energy around you at this time and helping that feminine energy as you see that they are an expression of setting healthy boundaries, but also being very open, very available, very emotionally expressive. That is helping the masculine energy right now through their own sense of emotional overwhelm by also standing in their own power. Hence, the masculine and feminine energy that's in union right now is very much in alignment. They're very much working in union right now in terms of adjusting and setting these points of correction. And masculine energy could even be supporting the feminine energy in setting these healthy boundaries at this time in some shape or fashion. While for feminine energy, you are potentially being empowered by a masculine energy that you are recognizing this degree of self-mastery in, that is further aligning with you to open your own emotionality at this time to set these healthy boundaries. While for the masculine and feminine energy that is not in union at this time, this is going to feel a little different because what are we seeing right now? There is a bit of alignment happening here, but in a very different way. For For the feminine energy right now, we are seeing that feminine energy is coming into a space right now of a lot of focus on the self. Feminine energy is focusing a lot on building that point of stability for themselves at this moment, allowing this point of emotionality coming through with the emotional expression, allowing themselves to open their heart space. This is the clearing. This is the clearing of the blockage that we've been seeing over the last few weeks around a feminine energy. If you will recall, what was the blockage on the feminine energy? The feminine energy was experiencing a blockage in how to be able to be their most authentic, vulnerable sense of self, but also protect the heart space. This is feminine's aha moment. It goes, I know how to protect my heart space. I know how to be able to be emotionally expressive and open and be in the embodiment of my emotionality right now. Feminine energy is recognizing I have to set healthy boundaries. I can be safe to be emotionally expressive as long as I'm setting healthy boundaries and recognizing that, again, a manifesting an empowered masculine energy that also recognizes boundaries because they maintain a point of self-mastery will be able to support them in that way. And that anyone that isn't doing that right now, it's not going to work. That's why feminine energy is seeing here. Again, there's something here that feminine is dealing with around a masculine energy if you're not in union, that is not in a place of emotional offers and expression. That there's something here around either, again, a negative emotionality coming to the forefront here, or something about emotional offer being rescinded or pulled back or not received. Feminine energy has no time for it. Feminine energy is just recognizing that as a space or place that isn't going to work. Feminine energy is responding to that right now by setting these boundaries. Masculine energy right now, this could be feeling like a real challenge if you are not in union right now, because what we're really seeing here is you may have put yourself in a position where you were not emotionally open with a feminine energy, that, to a certain degree, that was a moment that you were coming into a point of self-mastery, but it is now effectively backfired to a certain extent, because what we're really seeing is happening right now is the feminine energy hasn't received that emotional offer that it was this moment right now, that now you feel like that offer might not necessarily even be accepted or available, because you're getting some very clear indications from this feminine energy that they've got their walls up, that they're putting their boundaries up right here. And that's that moment that could be feeling extremely difficult for the masculine energy right now, because you're feeling to a certain extent that you see a feminine energy that is, you want to move towards, you feel this desire, you feel this passion for, but you don't think they're going to let you. Or this energy has some like very strong walls up right now, and you're feeling the grief and anxiety in the sense of worrying that something here isn't going to work the way that you would ideally desire at this time. It's requiring a lot of self-mastery at this time as you try to determine what to do about the situation or circumstance. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Eight of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Six of Cups in its reversal. What are we seeing here for both masculine and feminine energy right now? There's a lot of concentration on practical matters. What isn't working? What hasn't been working? For masculine and feminine energy that's in union right now, this is a moment of coming into correction, building a new foundation, particularly with a lot of critical assessment towards the karmic energies that are around you. Looking at some of these energies, these could be anyone that you feel or share a close karmic bond with, and either working right now on trying to repair these bonds between the both of you right now, or potentially having to move away or shed some of these bonds with the thought or the consideration point that you do not feel that they are in a state that they can be fixed. While for feminine energy and masculine energy that is not in union right now, this is that moment of effectively moving away or shedding any of the unhealed karmic energy right now. Potentially, if you believe or feel that there's something here that cannot be repaired. This is that point of critical orientation right now that feminine and masculine energy are looking at right now around these things, all with a lot of consideration and saying, can these be fixed? Do these have the possibility or ability to be fixed? Or are they just going to lead to more tower moments? because that's what the unhealed karmic energy does when it is not in a state of healing. It just creates tower moments when it's not reciprocal or even. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with, what is it? We've got here our King of Pentacles. Oh my God, do you see the alignment that's happening here on this table? Do you guys see the alignment that is happening here on this table right now? We have out. Can I just show you what we have out right now? Queen and King of Pentacles, Empress and Emperor, all in their upright. So again, if you're asking right now if there is some alignment going on between the masculine and feminine energy, the answer is yes. The key difference right now, and it is an important difference, is what has brought this about. Masculine energy right now is having a moment that you cannot express your emotionality in some way, shape, or form. Either a clear blockage from a feminine energy at this point that did not see or receive this, that is now in this moment of putting those boundaries up for you, or something around a circumstance or situation that you are observing or working with a feminine energy that you recognize their own ability to do so at this moment in union is creating this feeling of emotional overwhelm for you at this time. While for feminine energy, there's something about this situation or circumstance where you didn't get this emotionality, you didn't get this emotional offer, you didn't receive what you wanted as a feeling around that reciprocal emotionality right now. This is even potentially going through a moment right now with the masculine energy that you feel you're not getting that emotional support from at this time, that has led you into this state of setting these healthy boundaries at this moment, that has thus gotten you into a space of balance and alignment with the masculine energy. So two energies that are operating and feeling the same thing right now, but for entirely different reasons. Masculines come into this space from that over emotionality. Feminine is coming into it because they are coming into a point of empowerment and laying down boundaries. Clarification right now between these is the fact that for masculine energy, this is what we're seeing right now. For masculine energy, what we are identifying right now is, again, there is this point of observation that is being required around some unhealed karmic energy at this time. This point of recognition in terms of what isn't working. For the masculine energy that is in union right now, this is a moment of working right now with the feminine energy that's effectively completely in alignment with you, to work to build better foundations, right? In the wake of some situations that feel like they had reached a point of potential crisis, all with a concentration on looking at the karmic energies that are around you right now, asking yourself if they can be healed or if they are just causing too much difficulty. This could even be speaking right now for the masculine and feminine energy that is in union right now. Potentially a lot of work around outside energies at this time. This could be problems surrounding family members. This could be problems surrounding friend groups. This is potentially having to address a lot of this from the outside that needs to be adjusted to find that point of finding something to work in a better capacity right now. While for the masculine and feminine energies that are not in union right now, this is going to feel a little bit different. For the masculine energy that is in union right now, there is some situation or circumstance right now that you are also working through around some unhealed karmic energy. This is that point right now of also assessing whether you see a possibility of something being able to be healed, something being able to be repaired, something being able to be worked on. There's a lot of grief that you're potentially carrying around this right now, masculine, even a feeling of emotional overwhelm. There could be even some feelings right now with the masculine energy of desiring to fix some of this energy that we're seeing that isn't in alignment right now, but potentially feeling like you are being cut off or blocked from doing so right now because of a feminine energy that's put up these walls and boundaries. And this is making you kind of have to put a lot of care and attention in your own sense of stability at this moment, trying to come into a point of stability through a point of mastery of the self, even in a moment that you are feeling a lot of emotional overwhelm at this time. While for feminine energy, this is a moment that you yourself are, again, you are working right now on building your own stability. You are potentially putting up some very healthy boundaries for yourself at this moment, all to the care and degree of moving away from energy that you are feeling is only unhealed karmic energy, recognizing potentially some points of that not necessarily working as you seek to manifest a masculine energy that you feel is in this point of stability, recognizing what that stability looks like. Because I'm telling you right now, I feel like some of this feminine energy is not necessarily feeling like this lack of emotionality or this lack of consistency around emotions is that. This is feminine effectively cutting off a lot of that energy to continue to manifest and work towards a masculine energy they feel is creating this stable, supportive system for them at this moment. Either building because they themselves are concentrated to that same degree at this time for themselves. Final card for today's spread between our Empress energy in combination with our King of Pentacles. For feminine energy, we love to see this because what we're really identifying is this is a moment of feminine opening up the heart space. Bearing in mind, it's a little bit bittersweet because feminine's doing this in some way, shape, or form by setting some healthy boundaries. But it is leading the feminine energy into a space of the heart space being open and unblocked. A lot of creativity today, a lot of creative expression, a lot of generating, again, some of that manifest, that abundance mindset that we've been identifying for the feminine energy since yesterday. While for masculine right now, this is a moment of really coming into a sense of grounding as it relates to your own sense of stability at this moment. This is a little bit bittersweet for the masculine energy right now because, again, we are seeing that there is this point of emotional overwhelm that you are currently experiencing at this time that's requiring you to have some kind of mastery and degree of self-control through some situations and circumstances that are feeling very emotionally triggering for you at this time. But we see here that there is this deep and renewed sense of stability as we proceed forward from this point for masculine. A lot of concentration on building that stability around yourself in this moment in whatever place that you put that feeling of stability in at this time. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with, we love this, 10 of Wands, the completion of cycles, the allowance of that movement forward movement for both masculine and feminine energy today. It's going to feel like some hard work. This isn't easy. These are not easy cards that we're seeing here. There are big decisions that are being made today. There are big situations that are being weighed. There's some feeling of crisis that needs to be averted or addressed today that we're really seeing here. But we see for masculine and feminine energy that this is leading right now to a commitment to the path ahead, to doing that work, to moving in the direction that you are choosing right now as you proceed forward from this time. And it is going to take some hard work. We see this, that there's some kind of a moment right now. There's a commitment that is coming through right now on the work that is required to be able to push forward from this point. What we appreciate about this energy right now is, again, for masculine and feminine energy right now that is in union, this is a doubling down on the commitment itself. This is committing to a unified course of action. This is committing to doing that hard work together and sharing that burden, which is what we really love to see. While for the energy that isn't in union right now, this is a burden that both masculine and feminine are effectively carrying on their own right now as they work to manifest this for themselves at this moment. For masculine, this could be a commitment right now of moving towards a feminine energy that you really identify is your heart's desire at this time. Committing yourself to that path ahead, whether this be an actual person that you have identified as in this manifestation or working to manifest this energy towards you at this time. While for feminine energy right now, this is similarly a lot, and you're doing this masculine by putting this effort in, putting this tangible work in your own stability and security at this moment. While for feminine energy right now, this Empress is one that is working right now to attract this abundance towards them at this time, committing to your own work at this moment as you're working to attract this energy, which is this stable masculine. I will point out, For the energy that is not in union right now, this is still a little problematic. Why am I saying that this is a little problematic? This is a little problematic because these two energies are effectively aligning with each other. These are not activating cards. These are not activating energies. The King of Pentacles is a very grounded, like solid energy, but it's very focused on the self, right? The feminine Empress energy is a very grounded, focused energy that focuses on the self. So what we've got kind of here is a bit of how do I describe this? For the energy that's not in union right now, this is going to feel like, again, a bit more of that lack of activity because there's a bit of stubbornness. I just need to point this out. There is a bit of stubbornness in both. These two energies are mirroring each other because there's a stubbornness in terms of not wanting to move forward and take the action required to make an adjustment point right now. Do you see this? Do you see what's happening? Like the King of Pentacles is extremely grounded, but it's also a very stubborn energy that doesn't want to necessarily move here. That's why we see here this Emperor with the self-control. Feminine energy is also very committed to not necessarily moving after. There's no chasing coming through here. These are just grounded energies. So it is a lot of heaviness here because even feminine and masculine, there is a commitment and concentration on the self coming through right now that can act as a bit of a challenge and hurdle at this moment. With the energies that are in union, a little bit easier. But for the energies that are not, this is a lot of commitment to the self right now, which we have to bear in mind, which is very, I don't want to laugh at it, but it is kind of funny because these energies, like you guys, as I said, everybody's always saying to me, like, oh, why aren't they in alignment? Why aren't they in alignment? This is why you don't want them in alignment. Because when they're mirroring, when they're in alignment, there's no engagement point. They're just copying, they're replicating each other. And right now, everybody's just about trying to manifest the abundance towards them instead of taking any course of action towards the other person at this time. So just keep that in mind. Bottom of the deck on this reading right now is, what did I say about the lack of communication? Nobody wants to be the first one to say something here is what we're seeing around some situations or circumstances. And yes, this will feel a bit different depending on where you align right now as to whether you're in union or not. For feminine and masculine energy that is in union, there could be some feelings right now of not being able to have the communication that you would ideally desire at this time. Or feeling like there's some kind of piece of communication that is effectively missing around some circumstances or situations that needs to be addressed. This could be causing some kind of communication issues as it relates to the masculine and feminine energy in union right now. There could just be, actually, for masculine and feminine energy that are in union right now, there might be some practical concerns that are effectively blocking you and having effective communication today. Some of that Tower energy, having to address some of this right now. Well, for the masculine and feminine energy that is not in union, this is what I was just saying. Nobody wants to be the first one to talk about the issue. Feminine energy is not talking about anything. Feminine energy is just cutting things off or blocking things if it's not working, if they're not getting the receptivity that they would desire from the masculine energy right now. Feminine energy is like, I'm done talking about it. I'm not going to be the one to reach out, especially if feminine energy hasn't received this emotional communication or this emotional offer. Masculine energy, I think there's a moment here that they're feeling at a point of emotional overwhelm around the fact that they recognize that they've kind of put themselves in this position by not offering that emotional communication in the right way or in the right form, that is now making it the masculine energy have to have a bit of a willpower moment here. There's a lot of willpower coming into play right now with this masculine energy and trying to focus on their own sense of stability because they don't have the emotional confidence to come forward here, is what we're seeing. There's a lack of that emotional confidence, masculine, right now around some situations and circumstances where you may feel like you waited too long, or you may feel like there's a kind of a blockage point coming through now because of something that was not received when it was necessary to deliver it. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and receiving these messages. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, gracestrega.com. My private readings are done over video with the option of recording sent to you afterwards. And if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your TikTok ID at the point of payment. Also, please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading and you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you hit both buttons if you would like to have that reading. Most importantly, I would like to remind you of the most important thing, and that is that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never PM you. I will never DM you. I will never slide into your DMs and tell you that I have a very special message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do that there. I want to thank you guys so much for having this reading with me today, and we will do this again tomorrow.